Welcome to Cooking with Deb. Today we're going to do some stuffed mushrooms and we're going to have some bruschetta, and that's going to be our meal tonight. So the first thing we're going to do is show you how to prepare the mushrooms. I've got 3 of them done. All you do is you pop your little stem off, okay? And with a little paring knife, it should be nice and sharp. Just trim away the exterior, like the top part of the skin there. Now these things you save because we're going to use those in with the stuffing. Tonight we're just going to do a bread stuffing with little onions and these mushroom goods, and little celery and breadcrumbs. I think I said that. So this is what you do. Now the mushrooms are ready, and you're going to chop these up. Not really small too, okay? Little tiny dices. Make sure you cut the end of the mushroom off. And the stems, are a little bit tough, so you want to make sure that you dice them up pretty good. Okay, that's ready. Now what I've done is gone ahead and cut up some other ingredients. I've got my diced onions, celery, some fresh parsley, and here are the other pieces of the mushroom. I've got some breadcrumbs. I make my own breadcrumbs because I just like them better. And when you have leftover bread and you don't want to not go stale, or you don't want to finish it, let it dry out, throw it in the oven, cook it for a little while, and you've got breadcrumbs. I use extra virgin olive oil. Now with this recipe, I like a little butter. So I put a little chop of butter in there because it adds to the flavor. When you're cooking mushrooms, it kind of gives it a nice little flavor there. So we're going to heat that up. And then we're just going to saute our vegetables, and that'll take a couple of minutes. And then we'll stuff the mushrooms, and we'll take it to the next step. Okay, so we've got it on high. That was just to melt the butter. We're going to put in our vegetables, and we'll turn it down a little bit. There's the rest of those mushroom stems and stuff. Turn it down to about medium. This will take a couple of minutes. Now you can put some salt and some pepper. You can put whatever seasonings in it you like. I basically do a little salt, a little pepper, a little paprika, because I love paprika. But let it get cooking a little bit before you put your spices in. And we've got fresh parsley in there already, so just a little sprinkle of pepper. This happens to be a really spicy pepper, ground, a very large grind, so it's a little hotter than some. A little salt. Paprika does a couple of things, it's like I always say, it gives you a little color, sweetens it up a little bit. And we're going to cook that down, and then we'll add our breadcrumbs, and we'll have our stuffing, and that'll be as simple as that. Okay, you can see now the vegetables are sauteed down a little bit. They're looking pretty good. So my husband said, why don't you put some poultry seasoning in? So we're going to throw a little bit of that in. Again, that's got the rosemary and the thyme and stuff. So just gives it a little extra flavor. Since our bread crumbs are homemade, they don't have any seasonings or flavoring in it like you get in the supermarket. So the poultry seasoning gives it a little oomph. Now we're going to add some breadcrumbs. You can see our breadcrumbs look really different. You can use whole wheat bread, you can use white bread, whatever you want. Now we're going to add a little water. It helps to mix in the breadcrumbs. You want it to be, it's like stuffing, like you're going to do for a chicken or a turkey or something. few more breadcrumbs. The thing about this is that you're going to find you're always going to have too much stuffing. But, you know, what are you going to do?
You can never have too much stuffing.
Tiny bit more water. And I think that's pretty good. That looks like a pretty good stuffing. I like the smell. I smell everything, and that way I know if I need more seasoning. I am going to put a little more poultry in there, and I think a little more salt. Just mix that up. That's better. Okay, turn off your heat. What you want, you know, you want to be able, you want this stuffing to be kind of, so you can form it. See, so that's pretty good. You can mush it and form it. You don't want it to fall apart. So here are our mushrooms. I'm going to get a little spoon here. And you just stuff them like that. Now, what we're going to do, after we get this all stuffed, is we're going to sort of saute our mushrooms a little bit. We're going to sweat them in the frying pan with some olive oil and butter. See, that's about all you can fit. So you can see you're going to have too much stuffing, but be careful too, because that stuffing is hot. Alright, so when we're done stuffing, we'll come back and I'll show you the next step. Okay, our mushrooms are stuffed. They look pretty good. We're going to put a little olive oil in the frying pan. Okay. And we're going to just cook them real slow, because if you were to put these in the oven now, the mushrooms would really not cook really good. So we like a soft mushroom. So what we're going to do is put them in our frying pan. And it's probably going to take, I don't know, maybe 15-20 minutes to do. And you just cook them low, like this, and put a top on them. And then just check them every 5 minutes, or you can stand here and watch, whatever. And you might need to turn the heat up a little bit, or turn the heat down. But you want them to just sizzle a little bit. So, depending on your stove, you have a gas stove, I have an electric stove, they all cook a little bit differently. So we'll come back in a few minutes and we'll see how they're doing. Okay, so they're starting to cook a little bit. If you get in close and hear that, if you hear that sizzle, that's about what you want it to cook like. I like to add a little butter, because it just adds a little different flavor with mushrooms. Just a little bit. Now, since you're putting butter in the frying pan, you've got to always make sure that it doesn't burn. So you do have to watch it a little bit. I don't know, what is that, maybe a tablespoon distributed a little bit, so you can see that. And then from time to time you might want to add a drab of olive oil, just depending on how long this is going to take to cook. So we're going to leave that probably for about 15 minutes, and we'll see how they're going to do. I just want to say, you can use any kind of mushrooms you want for this dish. We've done it with portobellos, which is just delicious because that just makes a meal in itself. It's fabulous. You can also use different stuffings like crab meat, scallops, or shrimp, something different. So you can experiment with what your tastes are like. So we're going to let this cook about 15 minutes. We'll put them in a little roasting dish, and then we're going to put them in the oven for a few minutes and finish them off. Okay. Okay, so now our mushrooms have been sweated in the olive oil and the butter. As you can see, the bottoms are nicely caramelized a little bit. And now we're going to, we just put them in a little baking dish, and we're going to put them in the oven. I have a low broil setting on my oven. I don't know what you have, but just put it closer to the top, not real all the way up, and we're going to broil them. Because what we've done here is we've cooked them from the bottom in the frying pan. And now we're going to cook them from the top, so the breadcrumbs and the onions and everything cook and get brown. So we'll do that. It's going to take about, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes or so. So we'll come back and we'll check those when they're ready. Okay, it's been about 15 minutes, and we'll take a look at our mushrooms and see how they're doing. Oh, they look good. They look good. Okay, I think they're done. So, see how small they get? They do shrink up a little bit, but that's because they're cooked. So as you see, you look at the bottoms, nice and caramelized. The mushrooms cooked all the way through, and they look good. So let's give one a taste and we'll see how we like it. They're very hot. Let's see. Good. Mushrooms cooked, breadcrumbs are all cooked. Delicious. So we have a few more for dinner, and we're going to make up some bruschetta now, and we'll have some bruschetta with some stuffed mushrooms, and that's going to be a meal. Okay, let's see a little bit.